We got today.
Oh, one of my favorites. It's a little controversial, but still, I think that's also why it's one of my favorites. So, tonight's topic is uh, spiritual and religious trauma. All right. So, just like the intention for the week, I want to preface this by letting the viewers know that and I think I speak for you as well, it is not our intention to change anyone's mind about what their beliefs are, no matter what spiritual path they're on. But I think we both like to make people think, even if that means in the end they will disagree with us still, at least offering that different perspective that may not have been presented to them in the way that you or I can this evening. So that's first and foremost. Now, another thing that I want to address before we dive in here that pertains to this with spiritual and religious trauma is I know many of the viewers, especially those who have been following or stalking me for a while, knows that I've posted videos and have had aspects of my business before where I provide services or help others heal and gain insight through oracle or tarot cards. And I know how heavily frowned upon that is and how that is viewed. But let me say this. My spiritual foundation, it is based in Christianity. When I was growing up, I spent a lot of time with two different aunts of mine. One aunt I spent the summers with, and she was in church every Sunday, right? We went to, if I remember correctly, I think it was Ebenezer Baptist Church. I don't even think it's there anymore, but it was off 100, like near the corner of 110th and Union. And then my other aunt, whenever I spent time with her, of course, we went to her church. It was a family church for the longest, even had weddings and memorial services there, which is Star Bethel Missionary Baptist Church. And as I got older, with different family members, friends like that, visited different churches. Heck, you and I, how I even met you and Momo through Kia David, right? When I was pregnant with Kyra, her dad's cousin, we used to visit different churches all the time. And that is when, excuse me, when I happened upon, or we happened upon, the Word Church, back before they became the mega church that they are now. When I started going there, they were still in the back of Mapletown Plaza. And 6 weeks after Kyra was born, that's where I got baptized. So I say all that to say that, again, my foundation is in Christianity. I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus. But also with that, I remember having a dream when I was about between 11 to 13 years old where Jesus came. Jesus was in my dream, but the way Jesus looked, his face just kept changing to different nationalities. And when I told my cousin that, my cousin is like the kind of cousin who you share a family member, so y'all just say y'all related to, you know how we do in Black families. I told her, and she was very devout churchgoer. Her family was too. And I told her about this dream, and she was like, yeah, that was God showing you that he loves all. And I'm like, yeah, that was crazy. But I felt at peace. Now, as I got older, what the insight that God ended up giving me, reflecting back to that dream, is just like he made each culture, each nationality, each person, each creature, everything that he's divinely created, unique in its own way, and also reflect a reflection of him. The way he presented to me, not saying anyone else has to believe this, but I'm asking you guys that are watching this to take a moment and not lean on your own understanding. Because as we know, God gives everyone what they need in order to seek him, to have a relationship with him. So what God ended up showing me was God is all deities. God is Allah, God is Buddha, God is the many deities in Hinduism and the Orishas, just as much so as God resides with us and everything in nature. And so that is why, as I began developing my own relationship with our Creator outside of my spiritual foundation, that didn't seem like the only way to go. I always felt like I was there, but I didn't quite at all times understand church. Why could I only have this relationship with God in this building or in this place? And so I end up seeking him in other places, which I believe is what we're supposed to do, finding God in all things, yes? And just as there are, if you believe in such things, just as there are evil people or demonic presences that can be found in the pews in the pulpit or whatever religious um, building you visit for worship, I didn't understand why certain individuals didn't understand that perhaps maybe God has his people in the places and spaces that overall people seem as ungodly. Because it was my understanding growing up in church that God will meet you where you are and that we're not to judge others. But through having many of these kind of talks with many different individuals of all walks of life, of all different ages, literally from adults to my students, there still seems to be an imprint of judgment, even though we're supposed to reserve that particular quality for our Creator.
What?
Now, you know what? I never even questioned that because that's what I was brought up and told.
Whoever gave you that gave you misinformation.
But with saying all of that, Mr. Jake,
Hmm?
we know you've mentioned before, both of us have mentioned before on these lives that you got 50 lemon jobs. And
Temporary.
one of those jobs, right. And one of those jobs happens to be you are also a pastor.
Hmm.
So, with you being a man of the cloth, and this is our topic, which, by the way, with spiritual trauma, my intention and goal of this conversation is to help others gain a broader perspective of acceptance of others' beliefs outside of theirs. Because had you not been into the race, culture, country you are in, you might not have the belief system that you do. But can you first give us briefly your background in how you became a man of the cloth, how you became a pastor, and then how have you seen this church hurt or spiritual trauma, if we're encompassing all, how that has shown up in those that you have crossed paths with?
That is a lot.
I know.
That's a lot. It's actually multiple questions in one.
Okay, my bad.
I'll do my best to break down different components of it in a way where it's digestible.
Appreciate it.
There is a reality that many of us fail to accept. that is the impact of influence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't play football in most countries or baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to most of the suburbs in this area right now, you see all the little white kids out there getting ready for baseball. And in the fall, you see all the white kids getting ready for soccer, or you see the little black kids during the summer, you know, they're getting ready for football. They're getting the camps, getting ready for the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, forget the soccer part, but the baseball and the football. And it's like, well, why do these kids play baseball and football?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because those are the sports that were available.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's not that those same skills and talents could not have been used in other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Those other sports weren't even available.
Mm-hmm.
I got to high school and I found out about a sport called lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it and I was really interested in it. But I would have been at a major disadvantage because I would have just been starting the sport in the 9th grade. And I would have been playing against kids who may have been playing since they were younger. And said, well, why were they able to play since they were younger? Because that option was made available.
Mm-hmm.
We think we chose a lot of things in life, when actually many of the decisions we made were made for us, if we be honest.
Right.
Imagine this. Let's just be fair. You go up to a 5-year-old child. I was 6. Let's just say 6. I was a 6-year-old child, and you tell them, you know, one day you're going to die. That's a reality that the average 6-year-old can accept. Mm-hmm. Now, when you die, you got 2 options. You can go to this really, really great place called heaven, where every day is going to be an amazing day. Mm-hmm. Or you can go to this place called hell, and it's really, really hot, and it's like being on fire forever. Forever, ever, forever, ever.
Forever, ever.
Which one do you want to go to?
Naturally.
Now, these are the only 2 options presented.
Mm-hmm.
Any halfway intelligent being chooses heaven. Not necessarily because they want to go to heaven, but because it sounds a lot better than going to hell.
Right.
This is a reality. Mm-hmm. And it says, okay, well, I choose heaven. Say, great. Well, there's only one way for you to get there. Here's the way. Now, the cool thing about it is it doesn't cost you anything. You're like, for free? Yes, for free. You can go to heaven for free. You don't have to do anything. Just believe this story I'm going to tell you. That's it. Mm-hmm. And if along the way you mess up, don't worry. All you got to do is hit them with a my bad. All is forgiven. And when you die, you get to spend forever in this amazing place. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound like a great deal?
Yeah.
So did you really choose? It's like Coke or Pepsi.
Yeah, if those are your only 2 options, is it really?
What about
really
RC?
Choice? Right. What about Fago?
Yeah. There's tons of options, but I've only present 2. So I do this thing with my students. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite activities when I want to be a jerk. I ask the students, we do a debate, shot or stabbed. And if I have 20 kids in class, 19 of them will choose. They'll choose, and they'll have a huge debate over which is better, being shot or being stabbed. Mm-hmm. But then you'll always get this one kid that'll be like, wait a minute, neither. What if I don't like either one of those options?
Right.
I'm not choosing shot or stab. Those options aren't, I don't want to, okay, cool. Shot or broken finger.
Mm-hmm. Now you're giving another option.
Yeah, I've given another option. Broken finger only sounds good in comparison to being shot.
Yeah.
It was funny because I grew up and they were like, every day in heaven, every day is going to be like Sunday. For who is Sunday the best day of the week?
Right. Forget to say some people Sundays are not restful.
I'm just simply saying, it's like, it's going to be like going to church all day forever. All day forever? Could you imagine a church service that never ended?
Sometimes it seems like that, but
man,
yeah.
Now here's the thing. Now imagine somebody was trying to sell this to you as heaven. It only sounds like heaven in contrast to hell.
Right.
If I'm talking about that particular depiction,
Right. Right.
that depiction. And so if you only give me two options, I'm going to choose the option that sounds the better of the two. Until you have the unfortunate event of realizing that the options that were in front of you weren't the only options. Aren't the only options.
Yeah.
There's this one denomination that encourages kids at the age of like 12, something like that, to go and explore all the religions. All of them. And then come back and make a decision. Go explore them all. Go explore them all. And I was like, I'm not saying I'm for that. I am willing to say that that's a better depiction of choice.
True.
It's a much better depiction of choice. But I get it. I understand the history of religion, specifically Christianity. That's the one I have the most experience with and knowledge based on,
Right.
as it relates to the people today that we refer to as Black. People refer to as Black. I understand the history. I understand power. And I'm not saying any of these things are bad. Like, I'm just saying, I understand. And when you understand power, you start to question stuff. When I taught in the prison, there were books that they didn't let the inmates read, like 48 Laws of Power. Or was it The Art of Seduction? The Art of War.
Yeah.
These were books that they said don't read. And I always used to tell the students, hey, any book they tell you not to read is probably a book you should be reading.
Right.
But there was one book that they made readily available.
The Bible.
And I asked the question, why would your oppressor ever give you the tool that would ever free you? Unless they knew you wouldn't know what to do with it anyways.
Yeah.
The real nuggets inside of the Bible, I love the book. The real nuggets inside the Bible are not surface level, but the average person is not going to spend enough time with God, not going to spend enough time in meditation, not going to spend enough time in the quiet to actually get to the goal. They're just going to stick with the stories. They're going to be very surface level because there's so much deep truth in there.
Yeah.
But the average person is not going to get to it. And Jesus, the one we refer to as Jesus himself, would say, I speak to you in parables so that you won't know. He would tell them stories. It's like, listen, I can't tell you the truth. You lazy. You don't even want it. You don't really want the truth. What you really want is to think is to find out that what you already think is true. That's what people really want. They want to find out that what they already think is true is true. Very few people want truth. They want to be validated.
Yeah.
Fine. But if you ever get bold enough to truly seek God and ask for truth, when you truly mean it, God will reveal the truth to you. And you will have a very difficult challenge afterwards.
Tell me about
But for the average person, they're just happy believing that what they believe is all there is to believe. Or what they know is all there is to know. And you know what? Fine with me.
Right. I couldn't agree more.
I understand what the purpose of religion is. This is why I'm a great supporter of religion. Religion is a tool for control. And if you met human beings, they need to be controlled. There's a huge mass of people that need to be controlled. And this tool works effectively. So I'm a huge supporter of it. But I'm not ignorant. I know what it does. I know what its purpose is. It's never designed to free you. It's designed to give you the illusion of freedom without actually giving you freedom. Because if you think you're free without being free, you'll stay in bondage without resisting. If you think you're free without actually being free, you'll stay in bondage without giving any resistance. It is a very effective tool. It has worked for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Facts.
I don't know what to say with it. It's great. It also, because I don't ever want to crap on religion. That sounds like the negative side. Let's get some more positive stuff. Religion gives you moral floors. It gives you structure. It can be used as a coping mechanism from a mental health standpoint. It can be very supportive. It can be very therapeutic. I mean, the fear of eternal damnation has kept many people from killing themselves.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a deterrent from suicide. So there are plenty of benefits of this institution, and I've personally benefited from these institutions. I just also not comfortable lying to people or misinforming people. Once you know certain things or you become aware of certain things, you're accountable for it. And some of these conversations can be very difficult to navigate. And I think that's the journey for each and every one. Every person must seek the Lord for themselves while the Lord may be found. And if the only thing you know about God is what was revealed to you by some other person, you don't know God. It's like in college, I had to read a biography of Barack Obama. I took a course. And one of the sections in the course was we had to study Barack Obama. And we read a biography of Barack Obama. Question: after reading that book and studying that book and taking classes on that book and being taught about that book and taking tests on that book, do I now know Barack Obama?
Nah, you know some information about him.
All I know was information that somebody else told me about Barack Obama.
Right.
The only way I could even potentially know Barack Obama is to meet Barack Obama myself. If the only thing you know about your creator is what someone else told to you, even if it was told to you in a book, all you know is what someone else told you. And it doesn't mean that what they told you is incorrect. Not saying that at all. I'm simply saying you need to find out for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a very uncomfortable conversation for some people, because some people have been taught to worship a book. Some people have been taught to worship an institution. They just don't want to admit those things because it makes you uncomfortable, because you know those things would be wrong.
Right. Or you think they would be wrong because that's what has been instilled through the control.
Understand the purpose of literature, understand the purpose of institutions. And once you start to understand those things, if you really take your feelings out of it, you start to realize their purpose. It doesn't mean get rid of them. I'm a strong supporter of them, but I understand what their purpose is.
Absolutely. I agree. I tell people all the time, like, especially when there's that pushback, whether it's whatever their belief is, but for the sake of argument, since the main one we have the most experience with is Christianity, you know, when the pushback is, but no, Jesus is the only way. And I'm like, I agree with
What does that mean?
to salvation, to enlighten, into
what does it mean to be the way?
The only path.
What does that mean?
Which brings me to this. Oh, so you said you had a particular activity that you like doing with your students, and a couple of years ago, one of the topics that I needed to teach was about acceptance, for students learning how to accept differences in each other, that kind of thing. And so I dared to step out and be a little controversial. And I asked them, you know, I wrote on the board, we're going to a family reunion. And this family reunion is going to happen at your house. Now, you have family coming from all over the world, not just your hometown, not just within the United States. They are literally all over the world. And I asked them, give me some ways, give me modes of transportation that your family members can make it to your house for this family reunion. So they're giving me all kinds of things: cars, bus, boats, plane, hot air balloons, scooters, Uber, Lyft, all these kinds of submarine, helicopter, all these kind of things, right? Writing all those things on the board. Great. Now, then I asked them, what was the best way to get there? And they're like, there wasn't no best way. They got there. Okay, great. So you don't really care how they got there. You are just happy that they made it to your house for the family reunion, right? And they're like, yeah, perfect. Now, let's take that same concept and say we are trying to reach enlightenment or heaven. I had to simplify it a little bit before them starting off. Now, give me all the different religions and forms of spirituality. So they give me all of those: Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, all these things. And okay, what's the best one? Naturally, there's a divide. Okay, does it matter how you got there though? Or does it matter that we all get there?
Well, my only challenge with the scenario would be you and I would define the goal to be enlightenment. And I'm playing with that word enlightenment, like
Yeah, loosely.
loosely used enlightenment. But some people, the goal is an actual destination, like a place, in which case they're not the same, because many of these religious/spiritual institutions aren't designed to get you ultimately to a place, as far as like, this is where I reside. But we talk to them, talk about them as if their goals are the same. And most people in religious institutions, not most, that's not fair. Many people in religious institutions, they just don't want to go to a bad place when they die, and they want to go to a good place when they die. And so they're following something that will address both of those particular needs. But if you study things like Buddhism, it's not talking about the afterlife.
Yeah.
It's talking about this life.
Yeah.
How do I experience the highest aspects of this life? And that's the whole focus. That's a bit different.
That's true.
That's a bit different. And so sometimes we learn to walk away. Like we talk about, you asked the question about religious trauma. Religious trauma. And many people have experienced, I know I definitely have experienced it.
Same.
And religious trauma is just a type of trauma. We've experienced relational trauma, financial trauma, educational trauma, social trauma, racial trauma, gender-based trauma. Like there's so many different types of trauma. So to just identify this one is just one of many different traumas. Ultimately, at some point, well, let me say this first. Many of the people who have caused us trauma weren't trying to. They thought they were doing the right thing. Like a parent who beats their child for getting bad grades.
Yeah.
They think they're doing the right thing. And so they're not intentionally being malicious, even if that's the end result. I remember I knew a family member who came out as gay. And it was basically, they were kind of shunned from their family. And the church was encouraged not to communicate with this person as long as they were exhibiting homosexual behaviors. And I understood why they did that. I did understand it. I completely understood it. Like I had been taught, I've been raised, I understood. I was shown Bible verses to support, not prove, but support this particular type of response. I understood it. That doesn't mean
Agreed.
I agreed with it.
Yeah.
And many times we're going to have a difficult time getting people to even consider something different, because what has been taught, at least in this perspective, for this particular religion, that if you even consider something different, the penalty is burning forever.
Yeah.
When I was talking to my friend the other day about the green lady. If
Yeah.
you ain't from Cleveland, you might not know who the green
Right.
lady is.
Man.
But the green lady was like this mythical lady who, if you were somewhere you weren't supposed to be, she would like kidnap kids or something like that.
Right.
So I used to go to this school called Oakfield Christian. Ha ha ha.
Mhm.
Oakfield Christian School. And there was this one part of the building that was for us who were who were kindergartners
Mhm.
or in pre-K. Actually, I was in pre-K there.
Mhm.
That's crazy that I still remember. I was in pre-K,
Oh,
and
right.
there was part of this Catholic school that we weren't supposed to go down the hallway. The lights were off down the hall. You don't want kids down that hall because things would happen. And the way they kept us from going down the hall, they didn't have a gates, they didn't have doors. They had the green lady, and they told all of us, if you go down that dark hallway, the green lady's going to get you. And the green lady kept us all from going in the place they didn't want us to go. And I find it funny that many of us in religion are still being kept in place by the story of the green lady.
Yeah.
And at the same time saying, but God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
But
I
you're
get it.
scared of the green lady.
So, but here's the flip side though. And it finally came back to me what I wanted to share earlier.
Sure.
There's this parable in the Bible where the man, well, not even parable, story in the Bible where the man we refer to as Jesus has an encounter with a guy that we refer to as the rich young ruler.
Mhm.
And the rich young ruler comes to him and he's like, hey, good teacher, what do I need to do to inherit eternal life? And he's like, why do you call me good? None's good but God. But I digress. Keep the commandments. You know, he said, you heard the commandments, right? And he lists off a few commandments, which the guy probably has broken in one way or the other, but just doesn't realize it. You know, it says stuff like, you know, don't murder. He's like, well, I've never murdered. He's like, yeah, but you probably murdered people in your heart. He says, don't lust. He's like, don't covet. And he's like, you know, don't commit adultery. It's like, yeah, I've never committed adultery. Yeah, but you probably committed adultery in your heart. But he doesn't go on to say all of that. He just simply says, okay, since you think you did all of that, he says, if you want to inherit eternal life, take everything you got, sell it, give money to the poor, and then come follow me.
Mhm.
Two things happen. One, the man walks away. He leaves. Really sad, Bible says, because he had a lot of money.
Mhm.
That's what happened. But you know what doesn't happen? Jesus doesn't chase him down to convince him to do otherwise. He gave him the information, do with it as you will. This man chose to go away sad. He was not willing to let go of the things that are of value to him.
Yeah.
And I got a whole sermon that I do on this, breaking down really what he was asking him to let go. But I'm just going to give the surface one for right now for the purpose of this conversation to understand the point.
Please.
That some people, when they hear what the ask is, they're not going to respond favorably and let them go. Because at one point in time, we, if not most of us, if we aren't still there, we're that very same person who wasn't ready to hear anything different than what we already thought to be true. And so we say, hey, man, go with grace, my brother. Why cause that person trauma? Because they don't see something that you see.
Right.
Or the way you see it. Especially because you ain't even got no proof you right.
Right.
You just have a different thought process. You can't prove it. You can give evidence, but evidence and proof ain't the same thing. So if this way of life, this path, this journey is working for them, why would you try to take it from them?
Right.
Just because it didn't work for you?
Right. Which is why I'm like so big on just accept. Like, you may not agree with it, but as you said, if it's helping them, if it's working for them, especially if they're not causing harm to themselves or others, and you can, and it's even more so if you can see it's helping them grow, it's helping them heal from whatever trauma they may be experiencing. why is that a bad thing just because they believe differently than you do?
I'll put it
Like,
this way.
agree to disagree.
Even if you don't see all those things, so you think
Yeah.
everybody's assignment in this life is to be a good person. No, I don't have those beliefs.
Mm,
It's some really, we think the only people who are the people of God are the people who do the quote unquote nice things. Define nice. I think slaughtering men, women, and children and oxen and taking land ain't nice.
yeah.
I think sending a lying spirit isn't nice. One of my favorite verses is where it talks about God. It says, it was talking about the Lord. It says, how good and how terrible thou art.
Mm-hmm.
And people can justify these things however you want. Do whatever you need to do for your brain to embrace it. Like, I have no interest
Yeah.
in challenging that.
That's why I prefaced that like I did.
But I put it to you like this. I mean, we can try to make the stories as nice as we want. If that's what you need, I don't need the stories to be neat and nice. But I look at a story like the story of Moses, and he's going up against Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was like, all right, y'all can leave. And then the Bible's like, and then God hardens his heart. I was like, Pharaoh was going to let the guy go, man. And then God hardens his heart. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, my whole point I learned from that is this story ain't as clean cut as we think it is. It's not the pretty little, neat little story we want it to be. Like, God isn't always the kind, nice person that you pick. The entity that we refer to as God ain't always sunshine, rainbows, and bunnies.
Right.
Like, Pharaoh was literally going to let that guy go. Then he hardens Pharaoh's heart. God hardens Pharaoh's heart. And then Pharaoh's heart gets so hardened that he chases Moses, according to the story, into the Red Sea. And then as Moses and his people get through, God closes the Red Sea on them and kills them.
Right.
That's like, none of us have a problem with this story. Or maybe it's not as simple as we want the narrative to be. I don't claim to understand it. I just claim to accept the reality that the story that was given to me is bull crap. It just is.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make it too perfect. I don't need it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But some people do need it to be perfect, and in which case,
Okay.
create your perfect story. Like, create your perfect story. But if you ever really want to know, you can find truth. It's right there in black, white, and my preference red. It's definitely a lot of truth in red. It's definitely a lot of stuff in red. But one of my favorite things to do when I want to be a jerk, I got issues. I would like go to churches and I would ask them, I'd be like, hey, tell me 3 things that the one you refer to as Jesus actually taught besides love and forgive. Because you're a Christian, right? Which means a follower of Christ, right? You're following Christ. Cool. Then you should know what he taught.
Right.
So give me 3 things that he taught. He specifically taught. Give me 3 besides love and forgive. Haven't gotten those 3 yet. And I've been doing this for decades, literally decades. And I was just like, or do you need to admit the fact that you really haven't studied that guy? You've just been following religion, which I'm fine with you doing. I think that can be very helpful. I just think you're being disingenuous when you say you're a follower of Christ and you don't even know what he actually taught. Because if you actually study what he taught, you'd be like, we don't do none of this. I know. We don't teach any of this. I know. Isn't that crazy? And they put the words in red so you'd be easier to find. So you don't have to go through, well, what is he talking about? Just look for the ones in red. And it's right there. And we don't study them. And it's just like, I'm going to just read. We're like the Jews. The Israelites. Let's say the Israelites, because I think if I say Jew, I get canceled. The Israelites. He's like, man, I'm going to give you these 10 commandments. They was like, screw that. And they came up with like 630 other new ones. I was like, but you couldn't follow the 10. Yeah, but I could do all these other things. We can not mix beef with dairy. We cannot mix different linens. We can stay away from catfish and shrimp. He was like, honor thy mother and thy father. Don't covet your neighbor's stuff. Which I promise you, if you go back and look at that, that's one of the most messed up commandments you'll ever find. The don't covet.
Mm-hmm.
One of the messed up stuff, because he names all of the property, and the first property that he names is the man's house. The second property that he names is the man's wife.
Yeah.
It literally refers to her as property, literally, like verbatim refers to her as property, and we be like, we just
like, oh, okay.
Well, that's just the way things were back then. All right, cool. That which is that which has been, and that which what that which is, that which shall be, and that which has been done, and that which shall be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. We keep repeating stuff because we won't learn. We won't read. We expect somebody else with a degree or an ordination or a robe or a title to read for us.
Yeah.
Which made sense during slavery times because most people were illiterate. So you had to depend on that individual to read for you.
Yeah.
So that made sense. It's 2026. We got bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and PhDs, and you still letting somebody else read for you? You want to aggravate me? Read to me. If you're going to just read, send it to me in an email. I can read myself.
That's true.
Part of the trauma, part of the healing from the trauma is one, noticing that you have trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Two, accepting the truth that you are worthy of being whole and not just functionally, and not just being functionally not okay. That your value or your quote unquote level of being okay is not based upon your ability to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jordan had the flu and he dropped 30. So we out here trying to be Jordan with the flu, dropping 30, and I'm like, no, go lay your butt down somewhere. Yeah. We think it's a badge of honor to show up for work half sick. We think it's a badge of honor to still keep going to churches where we get abused. We think it's a badge of honor to stay in relationships where we are just being beaten down and downtrodden. We take it as a bad. You think the creator of the universe finds glory in your suffering?
Right. Some people
that
do.
That sounds like something the oppressor would teach you to keep you from fighting against your oppression. I could be wrong. Maybe the God that you serve wants you to be bad or be beaten and downtrodden and depressed and traumatized. And maybe he looks at that and is like, oh, I am so well pleased. Oh, nothing makes me happier than seeing my child being beat. Or maybe we need to actually do some serious reading and realize that a lot of the stuff we put up with, nobody's asking us to put up with that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe look for yourself. If you like that, if that works for you, being told that you are a wretch, you are a filthy rag.
And I don't by any means claim to know the Bible front and back. That's not me. I know
it's my favorite book.
I know the basis. I know, dare I say, the gist, right? But I don't feel as if, and this is just me personally, I don't feel as if my relationship with the creator of what we know as the world and our being is only summed up in that book, which is why as I got older, I grew more into omonism, because there are things in other spiritual backings and religions that resonate with me on a certain level that goes against the religious system that I was told was the right one. And because of that, I still get, I get the little side eye or that ain't right. Like, you can't, it goes into there's only one way. There's one way to the truth. You can only seek the Father through me. But that's not the relationship that I have with God, that's not what he showed me. And my own personal opinion, I'll say, I just find it hard to believe that God created everything that we experience on this earth, in this universe, including us, but only created one singular way to build or even have a relationship with him.
I hear what you're saying, and I feel like many people may agree, or maybe some people will disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But
And that's fine.
that I think a lot of that is due to the fact that we missed something. When he says through me, I don't think most people know what that means. I don't think they know what that means. And because they don't, they have a misunderstanding of what it means.
Mm-hmm.
We create these religious dogmas. We think it means, well, believing this story about me. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't have that understanding. I don't have that belief. I don't think that is what that means. I'm of
Mm-hmm.
the understanding that through me means through what I'm telling you, through what I'm showing you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this path that I'm showing you, it's the way. And what the crazy part about it is, what he taught wasn't unique to him. Every major spiritual believer taught the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, I agree with the statement. I agree with it. I'm not going to say what the thing is, because then you'll be like, well, what is it? And then, what this preacher on TV told me. No, go look for yourself. Find
Yeah.
out what he was really asking you. So let me put it this way. I have this guy who was at my church, and he was talking to me about asking people to give up drugs. Because we got
Mm-hmm.
a 90 something percent of people who come to our church are housing insecure, on drugs, mental health issues.
Right.
And he said, Pastor, when you ask the people to give up drugs, you're not asking them to give up their drugs. That's the words that are coming out of your mouth, but that's not actually what you're asking them to do. And I said, well, say more. He's like, what you're asking them to do is to give up their entire way of life. He says, when you're on drugs, when you eat is based around your drug time. When you go to sleep is based around your drug time. Where you are geographically at certain points of the day is all based around your drug. Your whole life is based around this drug. So if you remove that drug, you're asking them to change their whole way of life, who they hang around, how they spend money, what time they go to bed, what time they wake up. All these things were impacted by that. And so if you take that thing away, all of those things change. That's a much bigger ask than just stop doing drugs.
Yeah.
What I learned from that is a lot of times we don't really understand what the ask is. You think God just wants you to believe a story?
I
That's it.
don't, but
No, I'm just saying that
yeah,
in
I know
general.
what you're.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you think God is up in heaven? It's like, man, listen, I was gonna give you everything, but you ain't believe a story.
Right.
True or not? True. I'm not here to argue the truth or the validity of
Yeah.
the story whatsoever. I'm just arguing the question. Do you really think God is like, man, you don't believe this story, so you're going to hell forever? And I'm just going to sit and watch you burn for eternity because you didn't believe a story.
Yeah.
And here it is. I know how difficult it would be for you to believe this story, especially having not been there. I understand how difficult it is. But the fact of the matter is, because you didn't believe a story, not because you didn't change your life, not because you weren't kind, not because you weren't giving, not because you didn't seek God with your whole heart, but because you didn't believe a specific story. That's the line I draw. I that narrative just didn't resonate with me. It did for many years, though. I taught it for many years, and then one day I had some experiences, and God is like, "Yo, I get it. You're repeating what you were told, but if you weren't told that, would you have ever believed it?
Yeah.
If nobody ever told you that, would you have come to that conclusion on your own? If you were in there's a remote island off of Europe where they've had no encounter with like modern day people.
Mm.
No encounter whatsoever. They can't read. There are no missionaries have been there. Anybody who's ever gotten there has been killed.
Killed. Okay, yeah, I know which one you talk. Yeah.
You think they believe? You think they believe what you believe?
Not at all.
How would they?
Right.
How would they? So now they're doomed forever. That's. Now I'm not here to say whether they are or not. I'm just simply saying that's the narrative of the Creator that you've personally experienced. If so, okay,
Yeah.
that's just not what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage people to seek for yourself. I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm not here to even change your mind, besides to say, seek for yourself. And if you're happy where you are, stay there. You ain't bothering me none.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the need, like, and I know there's some people I'm gonna be demonized. I've been demonized for before. I've been called the devil. I'm like, really, the devil?
So have I.
Clearly, you don't read the Bible, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. You can't cast out demons by demons. Stupid. I shouldn't say stupid. That's so rude, but that's my word. I got trauma. I need to get through it. I was like, you're not even thinking about that stuff. But if that's your belief, I understand why you believe that, because I understand how religious oppression works.
Yeah.
As one of the past overseers, I get it. I was one of the people who used that book to oppress people, and I thought I was doing the will of God.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is in my naivety. Is how you say that word?
Yeah, we roll with naivety.
Okay, good. Is I'm just, I don't know, I guess I can be just so rose-colored glasses sometimes, where I'm just like, well, like, why we can't just agree to disagree? Why can't you believe what you believe because that works for you? I do the same because that works for me.
It won't work.
And we agree to disagree. Like, in my mind, I know that's not how the world operates. I know. And it may never operate like that. And if it does, chances are I'm not gonna see it in my lifetime.
It does operate that way. It just doesn't operate that way here.
What you mean?
There are parts of the world, and I want to say it was India. I was like, the question was asked, how many gods are there in India? And the answer was, how many people are there? Because honestly, even people who call themselves Christians don't worship the same God. Here's the proof. Separate them and ask them to the best of their ability to describe the God that they worship in as much detail as possible. But they can't say it out loud. They have to write it down, so that way you can't hear what nobody else is saying. If you put 10 people in a room and ask them that question, you're going to get 10 different answers. There's going to be some components that overlap, and there are going to be some components that are unique to the individual, but you will not get the same 10 examples, which means conceptually what they're perceiving is a totally different experience. They're just calling it the same thing.
Right.
But when one person says God and another Christian at the exact same church says God, their image of who they think God is going to be different. Again, there will be some similarities.
Right.
But there only needs to be one difference for them not to be the same. Like twins. If one twin got a bump over their eye and the other twin doesn't, that's the thing that makes them different.
Right.
They're not the same. And we think that as long as we're using the same name, that we're worshiping the same thing. No. First of all, I know you, Kalina. But my version of you is different than anybody else's version of you. Nobody has met the version of you that I've met, because the version of you that I've met is through the perception of my vision. So every person that's met you has met a different version of you, because what you perceive is filtered through your logic, through your thinking, through your trauma, through your experiences. And so everybody who's ever experienced you has experienced you differently. Will there be some similarities? Yes.
Yes.
But the Kalina I know is different than the Kalina anybody else knows. Yeah. And the same would be for Monica. The same would be for Kyra. The same would be for Miss Maxine. For anybody.
Literally.
We've all perceived you differently. And so we may all say we know you. No, we know our version of you.
Yeah.
No two people have ever experienced God the same.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not how perception works.
Literally my point. And why I'm like, why can't you just accept that my perception, let's use your words, my perception of God and the relationship that I have built with the Creator, some of that may overlap with yours, but your perspective and how you were brought up, how you perceive the world and the environment you grew up, all these different variables is going to be different. But I don't shun you for that. But I'm shunned. But you're telling me that the God that you serve or the God that you believe in
That's it. My wife
feels this particular way.
I've been married for 26 years. My wife's former pastor, who was on his third wife at the time, told my wife that she was going to hell because she married a Baptist preacher. These ain't jokes. Like, this is a man who was on his third wife told Monica that she was going to hell because she married a Baptist preacher. So even in the midst of people who believe, they still we just like sending people to hell. The only people there's only one person we don't like sending to hell. Just one. Ourselves.
Right.
We always make sure that the hell line is just behind our feet. We make sure that we like say, I barely made it. I ain't the man. I ain't as good as I could be, but I ain't what I used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always want to paint the picture where we're just over the line, but everybody else got cut off by it. Like, all right, if that works for you, go for it. Because honestly, your opinion on the matter is yours and you're entitled to it. I have no interest in fighting you for it. But I just started realizing that the system didn't resonate with me. And something on the inside was like, Jake, this is off. And I wrestled with it for many years because I wouldn't question it. Then I just got tired of wrestling with it. Like, what is this feeling? It just wouldn't let me go. And then that's when the journey started. God was like, listen, I want to show you some stuff, but you got to be ready. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Whew. Yeah.
What's it? Dick Gregory, the magic glasses,
the
tools. You can't, once you put them on, you can't ever take them off. And you can't make anybody else wear them.
And that's why it's so hard to even explain certain things, like especially when it comes to things like spiritual warfare, that's a whole other can of worms that we just don't have the time to get into. But it's like there are so many things, even like on that level, where I can't talk to anyone or not a lot of people. I have very few individuals in my circle that could even fathom the kind of things that I would even mention or talk about and had to face and overcome, because they have just the surface level of what that means.
Check this out. When I went to national training several years ago, I was walking down the sidewalk with this Catholic girl. She's Catholic, so firm believer in Jesus. Got you. And we're walking down the sidewalk, and we encountered this lady who was demon possessed. Craziest thing. I wish I could make this stuff up. And so immediately I go to, doing what we do. You see them demons, you cast that lady out. So the lady's like doing demon stuff, like crawling around on the ground like a snake, then barking like a dog, and then just kind of all kind of stuff as we're going through this process that lasted maybe 3 hours. Just as different demons were coming up. At things that we refer to as demons. I just use that terminology because it's the terminology that most of us are most familiar with. But as these things are coming up and coming out, and I remember looking back at the girl, and she was just like, what is this? If she hadn't have been there to see it for herself, she wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
But in her mind, everything that she saw happening wasn't real. until she saw it. Now that she saw it, she's like, she can't go. Every time I see her, she's like, that was the craziest night of my life. I see her once a year, and every time I see her, she says the same thing. That was the craziest night of my life. Like, I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And I'm thinking, like, you haven't? Like, I got pastors who do deliverance services all the time. It's like, that's just Wednesday night Bible service. You know, it was saying.
Yeah.
So the thing about this is, I can't expect her to be open to something she hasn't personally experienced. And that even if she does experience through the lens that she's been given, it doesn't make sense. And same with my people that I grew up with in the churches I went to. You got on these, one, if you haven't experienced it, it's like trying to explain to a vegan what a good steak tastes like. You can try. They just not going to get it.
Yeah.
But secondly, even if they do experience it, if they got on these lenses, they can only see what the lenses that they have on allow them to see. And no matter how much you try to explain what's really in front of them, they can't see it. It's not until they make the decision to take the lenses off.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. God ain't going to take the lenses off for you. You got to take them off. You got to decide, I don't want these lenses. It's part of the contract. You have to willfully give them up. God's not going to, I need you. No, that's not how this works. You have to willfully decide you don't want the lenses anymore. It has to be free will. It has to be a choice. But once you take them off, as much you try to put them back on as you want, like the
I don't want to see this no more. Nah, you seeing it now.
Remember him? He was like, hey, just what do I have to do? Just put me back in. I want to go back into the matrix. He never made
it was like, nah.
You never even made it back. He died. The reality of it is, once you take off the lenses, you can't go back. So if you like your happy little life,
great for you. Yeah.
But for those who have something on the inside of them where they're like, you know what, something about this feels off. Start your journey. Do something about it. For those of you who've experienced the trauma and you're like, something about this is off. Start your journey. It's not a one-stop shop. It's not a simple thing and you fix it. It's not a do this one time and it's over. It is a journey. And in many cases, a lifelong journey. But only for those who have gotten to the point where they're like, you know what? Something feels off. Something is drawing me in this direction. And my answer for you is follow that pull. It's pulling you for a reason. It's resonating with you for a reason. And it's going to be scary because as you follow it, many of the people who are with you are not going to be with you when you get to the end. And that's scary. And they're going to hate you for going, knowing the fact that they could have went but chose to keep the glasses on. They're going to hate you for that. They're going to demonize you for that. They're going to become your biggest critics and your worst enemies, but do it anyways because there's a whole nother group of people that will be inspired by your courage to let it all go.
About to make me cry. Whew, that one. That's real.
Get your healing. That's all I'm saying. Get your healing. Go to therapy. Learn. I'm doing a series at church right now. I've only got a few more weeks there before my tenure there is up because of school issues.
Yeah.
But I told them, listen, we've been talking about for the last few weeks. We are in the season of release. There's some stuff you need to let go of.
Yeah.
Some stuff you really, and I'm not here to tell you what those things are, but there's somebody who will hear this and it resonates with them. Like, I just feel this season of letting go, letting go of control, letting go of who you think you are, letting go of your plan, letting go of your security blanket, letting all those things go. Why? Because only when you let those things go can you truly experience your creator.
Man, I don't even think these tears is mine. You know, I'm very empathic. So somebody out there is watching this and they felt that. Because I just felt that so in my spirit. Because I'm still, of course, like we said, it never stops. But I've come to terms with being misunderstood in this part of the journey, in this part of my trauma. But we'll wrap it up. I don't want to keep you. I don't want to keep anyone else that's getting late. So as always, Mr. Jake, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on these Therapy Thursdays. This is our last Therapy Thursday. I hope those of you out there that have been watching every week, I really, really hope that you have found these conversations helpful as you navigate your journey, your traumas, and the things that you are experiencing and want to overcome. Mr. Jake, how can they get in contact with you? How can they follow you, keep up with all the amazing things that you're doing?
If you got questions or you even want to just have a conversation, like real talk, I love people. And I'm where I am today because people took time out to meet me where I was. And this particular topic is important to me because I don't even remember who the woman was. I wish I could see her again and just give her the biggest hug because she tried to have this conversation with me 22 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't ready to hear her. And she just sweetly just said, it's okay. You're not ready yet. Mm-hmm. She didn't dog me. She didn't demonize me for not being ready. But she was also the prototype on how I should behave when it was my turn. And so because she tried to reach me and she wasn't mean and she met me where I was, at least to the best of her ability, I offer to do the same. So listen, you reach out to me, My Life Now, that's MIE Life Now on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's where we are. And that's even my email. I'd love to continue that conversation with you. And if I can do anything to help you along your journey, I'm not saying I'm a guru. I don't profess to be such. I'm just simply saying I'm somebody who's on a journey. I might be a little bit further than you. If I can leave some breadcrumbs so that you don't have to go through some of the struggles unnecessarily that I may have had to go through or others may have, if I could be a blessing to you, I'd love to be just that. With that, love you all. Appreciate you all. Don't do drugs because they're bad for you. And I will see you all when I see you all.
All right, guys. Again, if you're ready, these last 8 weeks have resonated. Choose you. It's time. You felt those tears, you felt that buildup for a reason, but it begins with setting the intentions and wanting to do the work. Click the link in my bio, grab your Choosing Me Transformation bundle. I also have some more upcoming things in store for you guys, so make sure you are following me. 888 Coaching on all platforms, TikTok, IG, is all that is in the link as well. You're allowed to be down, but don't count yourself out. And until next time.